If you let blacks get control, everything would change. With some people, there was no idea that there would be any fairness or any democracy or anything, that there would be a decent, well-run city government, county government. If this happens, we're lost. And it was just a terrible fear, a sense of being powerless. If everybody that was willing to go to a certain step would move at once, then it would be accomplished. But we were all scattered out there. Nobody knew who else was willing to do what or make what changes. Leadership in the churches was, a lot of it was really people who knew what the right thing to do was, but were terrified of taking any stand that would upset the congregation. Politicians, even people who knew better, who would have been willing to go further personally or to have the state move forward, were always bound by fear of not getting reelected. People who knew better just stuck with racism for political reasons, is what I think. But mostly I think it is of losing control. Some higher level of trust, even of dishonest or corrupt white politicians, than of a black in some position of authority over you, for people who had grown up with these myths and fears, so that it was easier to stick with somebody that you might not have even cared for who was white. If you let blacks get control, everything would change. With some people, there was no...
I'd love to hear from white people, or perhaps even just anybody, about what is this fear of blacks taking control and blacks taking the majority. It reminds me of working in social justice and working in a museum talking about slavery and racism, and how many white people talked about the fear that they had growing up of black people. And it honestly never made any sense to me, because I thought if anyone should be afraid, it should be the black people who are afraid of the white people. We're the ones that have been dealing with the racial terror. Why are white people so afraid of us? Why are white people so scared of us? I genuinely don't get it. So I really like to open a dialogue. What is the fear that white people have of black people and black people gaining authority? Why is that scary?
I had seen this video about a black woman discussing what the microaggressions are and talked about enough, and she spoke up about how white people have a problem when it comes to black people with status or good, like a lot of success. And what I really want to talk about, and what I feel like the core of it is, it's not just the fact that yes, it's racism and and like how could you as a black person do it, but it's almost a slap in the face, because whether they want to admit or not, they know they're privileged. They know that they have a step up and advantage in the world and are 10 steps ahead, and this world's going to cater to you by a lot of things. It's a systemic thing. You got a lot of advantage, I'll give you that. So to see you, and you know the drill, we have to work twice as hard for half of what they have to then not only make it, but surpass them. It's worse when you even go above them. Oh, that's hellfire. It's hard to wrap their head around with all the odds stacked against you. How the heck did you make it above me? That is how they look at it. It's not just the fact that a black person that's staying in a black person's zone, the black person's place, you're not supposed to be up here with us. It's just...
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you are doing great from wherever you're watching this video from. As you know, I'm your host and presenter using the stories. Now there's something that I want us to talk about. There's something that I want us to discuss. You see, for the longest time, white people have been taking blacks as their competitors, right? And it is not just a fair competition. It is somebody's competing with you and limiting the chances of you being greater than them because they fear you. There's this enormous fear that it is in white people. Usually, or majority of times, they try to, reveal it or expose themselves in regards to this. Perfect example is this white woman that just exposed how they feared black people, how they feared black women, and they feared how black people could be great if they had the same opportunities. And that's why they never gave opportunities to black people. Same opportunities to black people. And so, brothers and sisters, this reveals something big. So these people, they really fear the greatness. They really fear what black people are capable of. And they knew what black people are capable of. That's why they spread lies in regards to black people. That's why they spread stereotypic lies about black people, because they generally know that there is something great about black Americans. Brothers and sisters, everything that happens in the darkness, I usually say this, everything that happens in the darkness will one day come to light and everyone will get to see everything that is really happening. Brothers and sisters, I want us to watch this video. It is really eye-opening. It's gonna be sharing a perspective that I believe that it is important for you and I to get and look and see, so that we can understand all these concepts and how everything gets to work. Brothers and sisters, I want us to watch this video. Then I'll be back with my commentary. I'll be back with my thoughts in regards to this, and then we'll have a chat. So let's get tuned into it.
It doesn't logically make sense in their own teeny tiny brains, because what? Like, I was ahead of you. I had so many opportunities more than you. Like, the world caters to me more than you. How the heck were you able to touch where I'm at? And even if I'm not at that spot, how the heck were you able to surpass me? And once I realized that, I don't know, I kind of got giggly about it. Shit, I'd be upset too. Like, wow, if I was a white person and I knew, hey, thank God I'm not though, so.
White people always, this is something else that black people don't realize. That white people always feel one step away from black people taking over. They always feel in one step. If one step happened, black people would take over. And now we'll be out of everything. They always feel, and they feel it because, of course, we're blacks, Latinos, Native Indians, we always excel beyond them. And as we excel beyond them, of course, they feel like, you know, any minute we could take over.
The last time we saw white people in the streets with the same level of hate and rage that we think we should be seeing now is when they were fighting segregation. Somebody had to say it. Argue with your mama. So, do y'all remember how Black Lives Matter protests were being talked about? Not discussed, but talked about. Riots, chaos, violence, animals. They were calling us animals. Every news segment looked like the apocalypse. One trash can on fire and suddenly the whole movement was criminal. It didn't matter that millions of people were marching peacefully. It didn't matter that we were begging for accountability. We were begging these people for accountability. All that mattered was how fast can we shut this shit down. Now, look at how they're covering these No Kings protests and the ICE protests. And be serious for a second, because they out here throwing snowballs. Snowballs. They're laughing, they're bundled up, cosplaying rebellion. Meanwhile, in the same cities, their neighbors are getting slammed into walls, grabbed in front of their kids, kidnapped off the streets. And the coverage, what's that looking like? Emotions are running high, right? The people feel unheard. Concerns about government overreach. Concerns. And that's when it clicks. Black people protest, and the question is, how do we control them? When white people protest, the question is, how do we listen to them? Same streets, same disruption, wildly different tone. Now, back to when we saw white Americans as angry as they should be now. That was rage. That was mobs that we saw. That was screaming at kids walking into schools. That was violence wrapped in concern. And even then, it wasn't framed as extremism. It was framed as fear, as loss, as people struggling with change. Sound familiar? So when I see snowballs getting thrown while families are getting ripped apart, while they're attacking a car with kids inside, a black family's car with a baby inside, I don't think the media suddenly learned nuance. I think the empathy shows up when the protest looks like you. When the anger feels familiar. When the faces feel safe. When the rage doesn't threaten the hierarchy. It just asks for a better seat in it. BLM was treated like a threat to the country. These protests get treated like a disagreement with management. One gets militarized, the other gets moderated. So no, this isn't about peaceful versus violent. This is about permission. Who's allowed to be angry without being criminalized? Who gets grace while others get cuffs? Who can throw snowballs while somebody else gets body slammed into a wall just for existing? And that, white America, that is why people are mad. Not because we don't understand what's happening, but because we understand it perfectly. Stop asking us what to do. Channel your ancestors.
Spanking new Lexus SUV. How is that possible? Integrate into the same neighborhood that I worked my entire life to get into. I don't understand it.
Why? Oh, yeah, here's this guy right here in his brand new Lexus.
There he is,
right there.
This is actually the thought process of many white Americans, because
Fundamentally, racism has them believing that black people and minorities as a whole struggle on a day-to-day basis because they actually have been struggling and they've been receiving handouts since the beginning of this country, from GI bills to welfare to free land to stolen land. They don't teach us in American history, but at the same time, white Americans were going to the Great Depression and struggling in business collapsing and starvation and all these kind of things. Black people were still holding it together. So imagine that you are told that you are the most superior people. You are the smartest. You deserve everything that is coming to you. And you look in your pockets and you have nothing. You look at yourself and you have nothing. But you look across the aisle and those people, right, that were hung, that were beaten, that were harassed, and that were disrespected in all kinds of ways, they're thriving. The truth is that black people have saved the American economy, and this is what they don't like to tell. And even during Jim Crow, black codes, people being lynched, people being redlined into poverty, black people have still stood up. This is why they took the time to go out of their way to hold black people down, because if they left black people alone, black people would quickly outpace them.
So stitch this and tell me something that white people aren't ready to hear.
We white women have an inferiority complex. The Negro women have a sort of reputation for being so beautiful. We're a little jealous of them.
I guess you just envy us colored people.
That black women were there to support me and to advise me, but not to rise above or become better than me. And that's why when this black teacher was way better and more talented than me, I felt some kind of way about it. Now, I'd imagine lots and lots more white women have also internalized the same idea, and that's why they feel okay stealing black women's content and not giving them any credit, because the black women are just there to advise them anyway. But most black women are natural leaders.
We're jealous. I think we're jealous because we would love to be that, I think, and we don't know how to break out of the indoctrination that we have been suppressed by our entire life.
So I'm hearing the next big thing on the internet right now is white people complaining that they can't get jobs because blacks are getting all the jobs. Mexicans went back home, millions of jobs are open, but blacks are still taking all the jobs, even without DEI. So I like to say, for my people, I apologize. We've been being greedy. You know, we should be trying to catch up to 400 years of lost labor, lost pay, stuff like that. We can't get reparations, so we're trying to, we got shit to do. But I do apologize for my people. And in solidarity to y'all, I quit my Dollar Tree job. And I told my boss to give this job to a white person. Don't give this job to nobody else. I even made the kids quit. Hey, Terry. Hey, what I told you, that Pizza Hut shit is over. Yeah, that, you know what? Well, that's enough pizza. You've been eating this shit all year. White people need a job. Good boy. Teresa, don't look at me like that. Red Lobster, that shit is done. White people need a job. All right? Okay. Yeah, y'all can have my shit too. I don't really need it.
I am so sick of the people that, listen, I want to talk and I'm going to talk and I'm going to say what I want to say, and none of you can stop me from saying it. I'm sorry, I done my practice and I done my revision before coming on this platform. I revised. So I know that a lot of people are going to try and stop me from talking, but I will not be stopped. All right, and you can't cancel me too, because none of you put me where I am. Okay, so I want to say that black people have privilege, because we do. We have privilege. Use your privilege. Open your eyes. Do what you need to do for your life. Take it by force. Make a way where there is no way. Stop allowing yourself to be, oh my god, it's not fair. Life is not fair. Life is not fair because you are not doing what you need to do. Don't you realize that? Don't you get it? You have everything you need.
You know what I'm learning about racist white people is they get really offended and angry anytime that someone displays their culture on the live stream because they can't connect with it. They get so upset about Bad Bunny, about black culture because they don't have culture. They cannot connect. As a black person, I couldn't understand anything that Bad Bunny was saying either, but I could feel the connection, I could feel the culture, and I actually felt really happy for Latin Americans and Latinos and everyone that's Spanish speaking because they had a moment to connect with their culture and live stream, and I thought it was amazing. But as a black person, I come from a really amazing, deep culture, so I don't get offended. I think it's amazing. But folks that don't come from culture get really angry and offended because it's a jealousy thing. They wish they had a culture that they could connect with. So instead of just admitting that, they start raging.
I'm going to say it for you. They don't like you. They not like us. No. They don't like us. The white man don't like you. The Spanish man don't like you. The Chinese man don't like you. The turkey man don't like you. If there was a chicken man, he wouldn't like your ass neither. Nobody likes you because you're a god and you're a goddess. Learn to not like yourself, but learn to love yourself.
I think the real reason that some white people get upset or like don't understand when they see black people in spaces that they're in, or black people in positions of authority or advancing and things like that, the reason that they relate it to like, well, it must be like you're getting something that you're not qualified for, like it is racism, but there's another underlying part of that, and it really boils down to the fact that they can't fathom a reality where you advance in life, where you get a position, where you move up at all without stealing something or stepping on somebody or exploiting somebody. They can't, in their brain, they don't have any recall within their collective history of any time period where they've been able to build without stealing or massacring or doing something to somebody else. So like when they see another group of people, whether that be black people or POC, in positions that they feel like, well, no, that's my position. And when they see them, they think that, well, you couldn't have got it any other way besides taking it from somebody and like stealing it. There's no way you actually worked for it, because in their history and present day, they don't have, even within the country itself, standing up, the United States, they don't have any like precedent of like existing, like moving up, like building without taking something from somebody, without stealing. Like they have no creativity in their mind. Well, not even creativity, they have no recall and lack the imagination to imagine that being a possibility. So when they see a black person or a POC in spaces and things like that, it's got to be the DEI thing, even though it don't make sense. That's the only thing they have in their brain. It's like the only way you able to make it, the only way I know you make it in this world is by stealing stuff and like, you know, exploiting and like taking things away from people that belong to them. Take things, and that's it. That's all they got. So yeah, it's the racism, of course, but it's also, there's another part of that psychologically where they just don't have the recall. There's no precedent set yet, and they refuse, I don't know, to set a precedent where they can, you know, advance, evolve without exploiting or stealing from other people across the globe and right next door, you know. So that's it. They just can't understand in their brain. It just don't connect. Like, how were you able to make it as a black person? And then to look at a black person and know like black people's history of subjugation and oppression, and then see you actually moving, they're like, no, there's absolutely no how you fucking doing that. Blows their brain. So they had to come up with something, and the only thing they come up is what they were able to do since the beginning of days. And by the way, yes, that is stealing from other people, taking all the things, culture, resources, land. That's it. That's all they have, unfortunately for them, because eventually you keep resting on the fact you got to steal while other people making advancements on their own, pulling their own selves up out of bootstraps, even without fucking boots, making the boots themselves. Come a day where you don't even know how to make boots. You don't know how to do anything. Okay, y'all have a great day.
Man, what is up with the obsession of black people, dog?
How do you think if you eat watermelon and drink grape Kool-Aid, you're more likely to somebody?
I don't think that's a true statistic.
It's true. It's true.
Are you trying to make stereotypes?
What's a stereotype?
No comment.
Talking about fully unprovoked. I'm pretty sure this man has never had a interaction with black people to begin with. Since you want to talk about statistics, let's go there. So white males make up 31% of America. Yet they make up 71% of child acts. That's all I'm gonna say. Y'all know what I mean by this. And this is actually facts instead of the 1350 rule, which I broke down. You can go check that out. Like, this is real deal facts. And I didn't even mention the comments, bro. Like, when people say racism don't exist, go into these videos and look at the comment section, bro. It'd be people with no profile picture. Just imagine how many of these people are doctors, lawyers. You know, these are their burner accounts. They really feel like this about us. So, especially my black people that be coming here to my, oh, I don't see race. They see it, motherfucker. The obsession with black people is extremely weird.
Every time Black Americans take a step forward in this country, white supremacists throw a tantrum. We call it progress. They call it a threat. And every era of advancement, every hard-won inch toward equality, has been met with a violent wave of backlash. So, let's talk about it. Donald Trump recently reposted a meme on Truth Social blaming Barack and Michelle Obama for worsening racism, saying they set America back 100 years. This, coming from a man whose entire public life has been steeped in racism, from refusing to rent apartments to black tenants in the 1970s, to calling for the death penalty for the Central Park Five, black and brown teenage boys at the time, even after they were proven innocent, to spreading the racist birther lie that President Obama wasn't born in America. And now, in 2025, he's just proving that the playbook never changed, only the players did. When enslaved people were freed, what came next? Reconstruction. Black men winning elections, opening schools, building communities. And after that, the Ku Klux Klan, voter suppression, lynching campaigns, and the violent overthrow of black-led governments across the South. Progress met with terror. I did make a video on Reconstruction a while back, so go check it out. When black veterans came home from World War I in uniform, having fought for democracy abroad, white mobs murdered them for daring to expect democracy at home. That became known as the Red Summer of 1919. In one of the most haunting examples, a black soldier named Wilbur Little was lynched in Georgia for refusing to take off his army uniform after stepping off the train that brought him home from war. He had risked his life for a country that still refused to see him as a man. And he wasn't the only one. Across the nation, white mobs attacked black veterans simply for wearing their uniforms in public, because those uniforms symbolized equality. And then there's Tulsa. When black prosperity blossomed in Tulsa's Greenwood district, a thriving neighborhood known as Black Wall Street, the backlash was swift and brutal. Greenwood wasn't just wealthy, it was successful on its own terms. Black doctors, lawyers, barbershops, grocery stores, newspapers, tailors, hotels, and a fully functioning economy built by black families who were shut out of white society. Some residents were millionaires in today's dollars, all of it built just 50 years after slavery was abolished. Proof that black excellence could flourish when given even a sliver of space. And that's exactly why white supremacists burned it all down. In 1921, after a false accusation against a black teenager, white mobs, many deputized by local police, stormed Greenwood. They looted homes, they set businesses on fire. Eyewitnesses reported private planes dropping incendiary bombs. Black residents were shot in the street or dragged from their homes. By the time it ended, over 35 square blocks were destroyed. Up to 300 black men, women, and children were killed. More than 10,000 black residents were left homeless overnight. And not a single white rioter was ever held accountable. Greenwood wasn't destroyed because of crime or chaos or uprisings. It was destroyed because white supremacists couldn't tolerate the sight of black wealth, black self-sufficiency, and black dignity thriving without white control. That's the pattern, and you see it again in the 1960s. After the Civil Rights Act and Voting Rights Act finally outlawed segregation and protected black voting rights in 1965, white politicians had a problem. They could no longer legally defend segregation. They could no longer say, we don't want black people in our schools, or we don't want black people voting. So they rebranded their racism with new language. They called it law and order. Law and order wasn't about crime. It was a political weapon designed to frame black Americans as dangerous, disruptive, and undeserving without ever mentioning race. Barry Goldwater hinted at it in 1964. Richard Nixon perfected it in 1968. His advisors admitted on tape that law and order was designed to attract racist voters without sounding racist. And the policy fallout was devastating. Mass incarceration, the war on drugs, over-policing black neighborhoods, mandatory minimums, stop and frisk, all justified by coded language white voters found comforting. Ronald Reagan doubled down with states' rights and the racist welfare queen myth. Bill Clinton expanded the prison industrial complex even further, and Donald Trump wrapped it all in "Make America Great Again," a slogan rooted in turning back the clock on civil rights. Same playbook, same backlash, same message. Black progress is the threat. White grievance is the answer. So when Trump reposts a meme claiming the Obamas made racism worse, understand what he's really saying. That the sight of a black family in the White House, educated, poised, and powerful, was unbearable for people whose identity depends on feeling superior. Obama didn't make America racist. He revealed how deeply racism still runs. Trump is the backlash to it, the embodiment of everything this country refuses to face about itself. This is unfinished history. The same forces that once burned Greenwood, that fought to keep schools segregated, that silenced civil rights leaders, they never disappeared. They just put on suits and ran for office. If we want this cycle to end, white Americans have to stop pretending racism lives in the past. We have to face it in our laws, in our classrooms, in our neighborhoods, and in ourselves. Because silence is what keeps the system alive, and now is not the time for silence. Black Americans shouldn't have to prove their humanity again and again, while those who spread hate are rewarded with power. And yet here we are, a nation still built on denial, still terrified of accountability, still repeating the same cycle because too many white Americans would rather cling to denial than face the truth. But history doesn't move on its own. We do. So the question isn't whether the backlash will fade, it's whether we'll finally have the courage to end it, to confront what's right in front of us, to make sure this time progress doesn't have to start over again. If you'd like to support my work, there's a tip jar in my bio. I truly appreciate it.
Whites fear violence from us. We do not have a history of killing white people. White people have a history of killing us. See? And what you fear, may I say this, sir? What you fear, and it's a deep guilt thing, that white folks suffer. You are afraid that if we ever come to power, we will do to you and your fathers what you and your people have done to us. And I think you are judging us by the state of your own mind, and that is not necessarily the mind of black people.
To a kind of white rage that affects everyone, no matter what social...
So we moved into our first suburb neighborhood. I was out on a walk with my son, and this white lady stopped me to say, "Oh my gosh, how sweet of you to nanny for this family." Which I responded, "I'm not the nanny, this is my son." She then was just like, "Oh, okay, so you're a stay-at-home mom." I said, "Yes, I am." She didn't say anything else. She kind of just walked off. If you're thinking maybe that's a regular conversation people have, it absolutely is not. This woman asked me that because she's like, "Why are you out during business hours?" getting coffee, and not working. When we moved into our second neighborhood, I had 3 under 3. I go to meet up with a couple of moms, about 4 white moms, because I'm new to the neighborhood. When I pull up with my stroller, this woman looks at me and goes, "Oh my gosh, it must be so hard being a single mom, and of twins at that." I look at her and I'm like, I wouldn't know. I'm married. And then she was like, "Oh, good for you. So it must be the daycare. Daycare is so expensive." And then I was like, "Is that why you're a stay-at-home mom? Because of daycare?" She goes, "Oh, no. My husband just doesn't want me to work." I said, "Neither does mine." The amount of rage, hate, and anger I experience every day on this app for choosing to be a stay-at-home mom who doesn't do it all, who prioritizes herself, who wants to outsource, who wants to enjoy motherhood. This rage is really just because they do not think I deserve the same experiences. They feel like they've reserved those experiences for themselves. For many, many years, Black women were not even allowed to be stay-at-home mom. For many years, Black women were forced to raise other people's children. So I could understand why they think these experiences are only reserved for them. And the only way we can have these experiences is if we're suffering for them, is if we are struggling to be in them. And I tell you, it makes their butthole itch that I get to enjoy motherhood. I mean, butthole itch. The anger.
Being Black and upper class has in no way been a persecution for me. It has, however, been a front row seat to a kind of white rage that affects everyone, no matter what social, racial category you slot into in society. This rage flies under the radar, it's made invisible, it's been around for a long time, it runs on the same economic, political playbook that it has since the end of the Civil War, and it's hurting all of you. All of you. Unless you're Jeff Bezos, but that's not you. A very small example of this is a couple of years back, I was all dressed up with Black and white cousins. We're all dressed up. There's a good group of us, maybe 12. And we're going to the symphony. This symphony is it's manned by tons of volunteers, right? People who want to help you, people who are excited to see young people come to the symphony. And we get there and I've got my 8 or 9 tickets all connected. And this older white woman, member of my community, is doing the scanning. I can tell from the get-go, she doesn't really want to help me. She's peeved. And I'm thinking, why? I've got this huge group of people coming in. Like, this is a win for the local community symphony. So she scans all my tickets, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. She gets to the 8th or 9th one. I don't remember how many exactly we had. It doesn't beep. Now, mind you, I had to pick up these tickets at will call with an ID, with my name. And she knows this because she's a volunteer before I come to her. She scans the last ticket that has the symphony's name on it. I mean, it's got all the official stuff. And she explodes with this quiet anger and this total frustration. Like, she's just like, she knew it. She knew I was a thief. And she loudly, in front of everybody, accuses me basically of stealing a ticket and attaching it to the legitimate tickets, which is how you should do crime. Now, that's a ridiculous thing. We sorted it out. We found out that yes, while she was following the rules as to what to do.
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you are doing great from wherever you're watching this video from. Again, I'm your host and praise anti-agenic stories. Now, you've all heard about how white people think, their psychology, and how generally they are projecting their fears. And sometimes they act out of fear because they fear competition. They fear that Black people offer something better, something greater, something pure than them when it comes to talent, when it comes to everything, right? So tell me, all along, these people and all majority of all these other people that have been showing hate towards Black people, the reality that comes out is that these people hated Black people, not because Black people are not great. They hated Black people because they knew what Black people are capable of. And that's why we had a lot of revisionist historians who tried to erase, who tried to replace what good like black people did. Everything good that black people did, they tried to erase, and they tried to put themselves, to show themselves as people who did better. And why do you think this happened? This happened because they are playing with you psychologically, because they knew very well that when they did this, we will grow up, black people generally will grow up knowing that there is nothing great about them. And this affects them psychologically. And it's like the story of the flying chicken. This chick grew up knowing that she couldn't fly, right? That's how he knew. But one day a situation forced her to fly. That's when she realized that she's been living a lie all the time. She realized that she can fly. But they do know that chickens can fly. It's that it is their conditioning. It's that it's the place that they are put not to fly. But if they wanted to fly, they could fly. It's a conditioning. So the same type of narrative is what black people were put into. So somebody keeps on showing how you're not great. Somebody keeps on showing the negative side of everything that you do. So this has a psychological effect or negative effect in regards to you. So this is what is happening, brothers and sisters. When you keep on hearing negative things about you, higher chances that you won't think about something positive about you. And this is what they did to black people, like big time. And they managed to do this to black people. Why? Because everything, starting from the person who wrote history, starting from what people are being taught in schools, all these things reveal a one-sided part of the story. And guess what? We all fell for that. We all took that one side of the story and took it as the true history. Well, in reality, that's not just the truth. The truth, sometimes they try to put it in black and white. So you tell me, when your history is being written by a person who fears you, who hates you, tell me what will happen. You can't put a lion to be the judge of a goat or a sheep. We definitely know how all this goes and how it has always been going. So all these fears, all these stereotypic messages that I've been sending in regards to this has just been a projection. And it has been a projection in how they fear their deep fears, the fear of being outgrown, the fear of being outperformed, the fear of being outsmart and everything. That's how it has always been, brothers and sisters. So, I really don't know what you think about this video, but I really want to know your opinion in regards to this, right? As you know, I'm your host and presenter Eugenic Stories, and I want to just say thank you for all those fans who keep on supporting my channel in different ways. I want to say thank you for everyone who have stood with my channel, for those who always comment on my videos, for those who always share, subscribe, like, send me super thanks. I'm grateful for you all support and everyone out there. So, please let me know what you all think about this video. I'm your host and presenter Eugenic Stories, but until then, let me see you on my next video. Peace, love, and harmony. Salute.